Hey, everybody. That's right, man. Welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz, episode 94, brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well, the Bowfishing Buzz podcast. As always, sponsored by End Designs, Leatherwork and Embroidery, Efficiency Bowfishing Lights by Outdoor Innovations USA. Right. Today is January 22nd. We're up here in the booth ready to rock and roll.
Right. Our first episode for the 2025 season, and we were happy to have Efficiency back with us as sponsors.
Yep.
Jeff Nybal with his End Designs back as a sponsor. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate that.
Yes, we love our sponsors. They're great to work with, 100%. Yes.
And what they do is a lot with bow fishing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, you check out all the boat wraps that End Designs does. They're beautiful. They're top notch. They're beautiful. You can almost tell when you see one. Yeah. It's like, I bet you End Designs did that. And guess what? You find out that they did. They just look fantastic.
Hats, embroidery.
All their leather work that they do on their websites too is just it's all top notch stuff.
Yep. Jerseys, so stuff. And you got the efficiency lights made right here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
how cool is that?
Yeah,
we've got them on the AMS boat. You get them on your boat.
Yeah,
because they're great lights.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, first episode 2025, Schmitty.
And this is episode 94.
Only 6 away from the big 100.
Yes. Let me add this stat to the arsenal too. We're closing in on 100 episodes of the Bowfishing Buzz podcast. We're also closing in on 100,000 downloads since we started. Oh, I don't know if that was funny. There we go. Yep. Accidentally hit the laughter button over there.
Yeah.
But we're at like 71,000 right now. And just so everybody knows the download aspect, these podcasts are so hard to track analytically because I don't download a single podcast I listen to. When you download a podcast, it's so that you can have it offline. That doesn't come near the total amount of listens that we've had, but it's still kind of a neat number to kind of strive for and see our download counts keep going up for the few people that do download the podcast in full. So we're closing in on 2 big milestones here, man.
Nice. We appreciate all of our listeners. We're glad you enjoyed the Bowfishing Buzz podcast.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening. And we've got a special guest on today, Schmitty.
Yes, we do.
Who do we have?
We have Clayton Meyer.
Nice.
Of the Obsession Outdoors guide service down there in Bagdad, Kentucky, that is.
Good thing we're not calling Bagdad.
No, yeah. And he shoots a bunch of megamouth reels. I see all his posts on social media all the time. He runs a fantastic service down there, and something that he did that's actually very cool. You don't see a lot of this, but he just built a lodge. I think he calls it the Fishing Frontier or the Fishing Lodge, something like that. And it's an Airbnb for his clients to stay in. Nice. If they're shooting multiple nights or, a night of bowfishing can be late. You got a place to crash, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah, so we're going to be giving him a call. That's really cool.
Yep, just see what he's all got going on there, how he started, what he's all been up to lately.
Yeah,
so
very cool. And we just wrapped up the 2025 ATA show, the first week of January here.
Yep, you and me, we've been on the road a lot lately.
I'm telling you what, if there's any ATA people up there that are listening to the podcast, change your dates. Don't have it the first week at all or the second week at all in January because it's cursed.
Yeah.
It's cursed.
There's one thing that you 100% know is going to happen with the ATA show, and that is either going down or coming back, you are going to run into a terrible snowstorm.
Or ice storm.
Or windstorm.
Yeah. Or you're going to hit snow. Yes. Then it's going to change over into ice. Yeah. And then it's going to change over to rain. And then it's a big cluster.
Yeah. Yep. And they had it. That snowstorm hit down south a couple days before we got down there.
It hit the day before we got down there.
Yeah. Yep. And once the roads were all right getting down there, but like really the worst roads that we encountered was, I don't know, maybe an hour outside of Indy that it started getting a little sketchy down there on our way down.
Yeah. And then downtown
and
Indy.
Then in Indy was terrible.
On Monday was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There were cars stuck in driveways because the city doesn't know.
They're not prepared for that.
No.
They're not getting that type of snow that often. And I know, like, one thing that I noticed, Matt, is up here, like, if you go to Marshfield, 10 minutes south of us here, like, a lot of obviously, we have plow trucks that are constantly working in the wintertime. Right. And, like, in the Walmart parking lot in Marshfield, there's a snow pile that is there from January till June. It doesn't melt.
Right.
They've got all those places to push all that snow in these big lots.
Yeah.
When we were down there, I don't know if it was when I had to run back to the hotel or what it was. I don't know if you saw it or not, but like when they're plowing these roads in downtown Indy, they'll just make a huge pile of snow like in the farthermost right lane. And then that lane's just closed.
Right.
So now you've got downtown Indy traffic. The roads are sketchy already. And now you've narrowed it down to you
Yeah.
took that lane away.
Right.
There's just a huge pile of snow.
Yeah.
They just don't know. They don't have a place to put
Right.
that when there's all that,
Right.
all those people and buildings down there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How was the show, Schmitty? How do you think the show was?
I think the show was very good. We did some things as far as some specials for the ATA show. We
Yep.
talked to a lot of dealers. Of course, the ATA is always a good place to connect with people who are in the outdoor industry.
That's the best part about the ATA show.
Yeah.
Since it's kind of changed a little bit, is those one-on-one, sit downs with your dealers.
Yeah.
And instead of calling them their conversations on the phone,
Right.
here we're sitting right across from each other.
Yep.
You can see them, thank them.
Like I always look forward to Johnny coming down from Chalmette Bow. He comes down and writes an order. And like one of the things too, when we're down there, one of my favorite aspects of it is that you might have a dealer come into the booth and he might stay there for a half hour.
Oh yeah,
He's going to shoot the breeze with you. We're going to talk with the whoever he brings down. A lot of them bring their family, and you just get that connection. You get that face to the name type of recognition that really helps build a bond between a manufacturer and a dealer.
Yep.
So
it's very nice.
Yeah.
And then, the ATA show is nothing what it was years ago.
Nope, not quite.
You just don't have that atmosphere
Yeah.
like it was years ago. It's really changed modes to buying and selling to your dealers and taking care of your dealers.
Which is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what they're there for. That's why we go down there and spend money for booths, spend money for the hotels,
Yep.
employees to go down there.
Yeah.
And that's what we go down there for. So it has changed. It's not that big party atmosphere that it was years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember and I remember you tell me that even before I started even working here, it was even crazier than what it is for what I'm about to say. But I remember my first ATA show down there, it was packed compared to what we have now.
Right.
But I remember we were down there, and like every half hour, I was going to a different booth because I'd go and get an autograph or meet and greet from Lee and Tiffany, Jim Shockey, Tim Wells. It was such a cool thing to see, and there's just not quite as much of that anymore from the media aspect of things, but it's a great dealer show.
Yeah. Yep. We go down and grab T-Bone and bring them in the booth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That was always really cool.
Yeah. So it's changed, but it's for the better for the vendors and the dealers.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's what it's for.
And the ATA show, too, Matt, is kind of a place to display your new products that you might have. You want to dive into a couple of the little changes, new things that we have for AMS going into 2025?
Well, we have the new Blaze.
The Blaze.
Hooligan. V2. We've really brightened that thing up. You're not going to miss it.
It has a blaze orange sparkle paint on
it.
It's the same great bow that the Hooligan V2 originally was, but we changed that color on it just to make it a little bit stand out a little bit more. Yep, it's got a Retriever Pro on it, our zip rest, and that's going to retail for $500.
Right.
And then we brought down there our new Watermock Sport Kit.
Yep.
We've got our Watermock. We changed the packaging on it, which is really, I'm probably way more excited about that than anyone listening. But we did some changes to the packaging so you can physically see the bow itself instead of it being encased in a box. That's got our sport reel on it with our zip rest as well, and that retails for $300.
Right.
So just a couple really awesome products for a good price point.
Exactly.
A lot of those dealers were excited to see that for sure. So
very nice. So it snowed getting down there.
Yeah.
We were there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday was the last day of the show because we had the Aero Hot show on Tuesday.
Yep.
So Friday was the last day. The show went till 3 o'clock. Guess what started happening around 10 o'clock that morning, Schmitty?
Zip. The tape guns came out.
No, the snow started coming down again.
That too.
Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yep. We were trapped down there. We were trapped between snowstorms down there.
So, and once we tore it down pretty quick. And then we had to get our truck into the loading dock area, and that was a major cluster.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what the hell was going on down there.
And like when we got down there, Matt, one of the cool things that they let us do is they let us drive our truck right into the convention center, which was very cool. That was awesome. That was new.
Yep. No more marshalling yards.
Yes.
You had to go waiting.
But then we found out halfway through the show that that's exactly how they're going to do it for everybody who's packing up to leave.
And it was a cluster.
It was a cluster.
It was a mess. Nobody knew, like I said, what was going on. Look, it was a mess.
God bless the ATA, what they do for the industry. But that whole pack up on that last day was, I don't know. We kind of were able to weasel our way through there.
Let's tell everybody how we weaseled our way in there. So the deal was you're supposed to tear your booth down, have everything ready to go into your trailer or truck when you were ready to bring your vehicle
And
in.
I think they said, too, you're supposed to pack up at 3, which is when the show
Yep.
ends. And they were not going to allow trucks in until 5
o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we tore down and we were done by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we went and got the truck and we were able to drive in. Now they had a huge, long waiting line of trucks and trailers.
In a narrow little corridor that ran right next to the convention center.
Yep.
That ended with a huge concrete wall. There was no
turnaround. Right.
No, nothing.
So we're in line and it's slowly moving. Finally, there's 3 cars in front of us with trailers and trucks. They let those 3 in and the guy tells me to stop.
Yep. Stay here until I come out to grab you.
Right. And there's a lot of people waiting behind me.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we're sitting there waiting.
10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
I go to Schmitty. I said, Schmitty, go see what the heck is going on. Go in there and see what the deal is.
Yeah. Yep. And just for reference, our booth number was 2337 or
2233.
2233 was our booth number. So I walk in there, couldn't find anyone.
Right.
So I'm running around. I finally run into the guy who told us to wait.
Yep.
And I said, we got a huge line of cars, and like it's had to be backed up to the road.
Right.
Like people had to be wanting to pull in, and they couldn't because the line wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay. He says, what booth number are you guys? I said, we're 2233. He goes, oh. He said, you're gonna have to wait. We're gonna start at 1,000 and work our way to 3,000. And I told him, I said, sir, there's a line of cars out there that are 6 inches bumper to bumper. I said, and with this narrow corridor, people aren't gonna be able to back up and have people go in front of them.
Right.
He says, yes, you will. Everyone's just going to have to wait their turn.
No idea what it's like out there.
So I'm looking at where there are trucks packing up right now, and they're like in the 1,300 column.
Right.
They started at 1,000, we're at like 1,300, which this whole thing, they did not even stick to their rules of letting people come in at 5 o'clock. This was like 4:30 when this was happening. So I'm looking there. He tells me that we're going to have to wait. So I run back to the truck. I jump in the back seat. I change my shirt, take off my hat, put on a different hat, and I sit in the back seat, and I get in the truck. I said, Matt, when he comes out here and asks what our booth number is, say we're booth number 1327.
Yeah.
Matt's like, why? I just said, just do it. Just do it. So 5 minutes later, the guy comes over. He goes, what booth number are you? Matt goes, 1327. He goes, perfect. Pull on in. So we kind of cheated that system a little bit, but then we pull into the convention center. There's not a truck that you can see. I have no idea what the whole
tons
was.
of room for vehicles to come in. It was just, like I said, a mess. The people that do that, it's not the ATA that handles that part of it. It's a different crew, but there's no communication there at all. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
So once we loaded up and everything got out of there, we're on the interstate heading back out, and it's snowing.
Oh, just
and people are driving like wing nuts.
I took a video of it. We'll probably be able to show it. We were going on, I think it was 3-lane interstate. We were going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, we were driving. It was
right
bad.
So then we finally get outside of Indianapolis. We start heading west to Illinois, and the traffic is driving absolutely slow for what I'm used to in the snow conditions.
Right. Right. Yep.
So we drove, I think, 100 miles, and we just said, to heck with it. We're just going to pull off, watch the college football, get a good bite to eat, and head home the next day. And we got up at 6 the next day, and we were back home by 12:30.
Yeah. Yep. That wasn't bad. And they moved it this year, too, so it wasn't a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. It was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it was nice to have that Sunday before we came back to work, you know? So
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But overall, I think the ATA was a good show for us. We got to do a lot of talking and stuff, and I enjoyed the ATA show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I agree.
And then once we were back from that Schmitty, we were home for 2 days.
Yep.
And then we hit our annual ice fishing trip up to northern Minnesota.
Yep. Yep. The whole time we were at the ATA show, we were just talking like, man, you know what we're going to be doing a week from now?
I know.
We're going to be fishing.
And it was 2 days from now or 3 days from now.
Yep. So we headed up there Tuesday night after work.
After work, we headed up there.
Went up there, had good weather. It was cold, but we didn't have snow or bad roads or anything. And we had a couple days of great fishing up there, man. Yeah. I mean, it really was a blast.
Yep.
We caught our fill of bluegills. We got on a perch bite that was just fantastic. Mm-hmm. It was a very fun 4 days.
Yep. We had to eat fish 2 nights back to back.
So we didn't have a possession limit.
Right, so we could catch more fish the next days.
Yep.
And the third day, it got extremely windy. Wow.
Like a little scary windy being in an ice shack. Like you couldn't fish outside. No way. It'd have been terrible.
We had Derrick's pop-up.
Yep. Pop-up shack, my otter.
Flip over otter. Yep. So you sit on the sled.
Yep. My
truck was parked to block the wind.
Yeah, like 6 inches away from us.
Right. And literally the wind comes so strong that one burst, it lifted the sled with you and I sitting on it.
Yeah.
and the canopy all around it lifted that sled up in the air.
Yeah.
And slammed it back down.
Yep. We always had to have one of us sitting at all times.
Yeah.
Because of that. Otherwise, it would have been flying across the lake.
Right.
And destroyed.
Yeah. One thing that was really cool that I really enjoyed, Derrick, was we fished a new body of water on the fourth day we were there, or the fourth day, and we were in 13 feet of water, and we had no idea what we were going to be catching.
No.
And you have your just amazing live scope.
Yep. Garmin live
scope. That's just incredible. And it was cold, so we couldn't go outside and fish. We had to fish inside.
That last day, like the high temp was like, I think on Saturday, the high temp was like 0.
Yeah.
It was a cold day. It was
cold.
a cold day.
And we saw that there was fish down there, but we didn't know what they were. Right. So we started fishing a little bit there, and we pulled up some giant slab bluegills that were thick across the back and just 10-inch bluegills.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, they were giants.
And they were even like we've caught 10-inch bluegills up there before, but it seemed like these fish were so much fatter. They had so much more meat up on them, on those fillets too. That was just ridiculous. But like we always say, the super mega monster bluegills, they go back.
They do.
Because they are the important ones to keep that fishery. They're awesome for a quick picture and a measurement, and then back down they go.
Yep. They have to protect the beds.
Yes, 100%.
Because once those big ones are gone, they're gone.
And those genetics are gone. You just don't want to, we had plenty of amazing sized fish to make us a beautiful little fish fry.
But one thing that I thought was very interesting is northerns were very abundant on that water, and you could see them on your live scope how they would come in.
Yes.
And you could actually look over your hole, close the windows in your pop up, look over your hole, and you could see those northerners down there swimming around.
Yep.
And I watched that one actually bite
you. Yep.
And but one thing that was crazy odd is, or I guess it's not odd, makes a lot of sense, but we could tell when the bluegills started moving in on your
There'd
live
be like
scope.
a pack of 5 or 6 big bluegills.
Right.
Yeah.
And we would catch one.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they would take off.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, here would come like 2 northerners in.
Yep.
And it was like that all day long.
Yeah.
Those northerners were following those bluegills all over the place.
That, and I think, too, when those northerns are, say when that pack of gills comes in and those northerns are 30 feet away, okay? When they see that bluegill dancing up towards the ice because, it just got hooked, that's like a dinner bell. They're like, what's going on over here? And then they'd come over and check it out. But
yeah, and we ate like kings.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
Matt could run a fishing / bowfishing / camp chef resort, and it would be amazing. The food we ate was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But one thing I also want to talk about, Matt, is on the third day when we got on that heck of a perch bite. One, we got stuck at the boat landing.
We did.
There was an ice heave at the boat landing. We got onto the lake fine, and then all that terrible wind drifted that landing shut bad by the time we were leaving.
Right. And to get over top of this ice heave, which was 3 feet high.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty steep angle.
Yep.
From the vehicles going over top of it the previous days before we were there and while we were there, it was nice and hard packed.
Yep.
And you can't just go over top of this at 5 miles an hour because you're going to bust the bottom of your truck up.
Yep.
So you have to crawl over top of it.
Yeah, right.
And like you said, with that wind blowing, it blew all this, it drifted it shut. So, of course, you don't want to hit it very fast.
No. It was the perfect, like, you're screwed if you go slow, you're screwed if you go fast situation.
And we were the first ones to attempt to get out of there that afternoon.
Yep.
And it hung us up. And then pretty soon we were completely bottomed out.
Yeah.
The truck was
resting on the ice heave,
and the wheels were just spinning.
Yep. Luckily, we had a guy come down. He pulled us out with a chain and a tow rope, but that was interesting.
But it was just a slight little pull to get us
it barely took anything at all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And on that third day, too, when we were fishing before we went back to the boat landing to get stuck, we're sitting in my shack, and my shack has these little, like when you pop it up, you push in a little push button, and that's how you extend your poles inside the flip over. Well, Otter sells these little clips that you can slide in there, and it makes it a little bit easier to push on it. I don't know what your deal was with them. You were knocking them out of their thing all day long.
I knocked it out twice.
But on one of the knocks, Matt knocks it out, and it was like in slow motion.
My rod tip hit it.
And it goes right down the freaking ice hole. Yep. Down she goes. So we're sitting there on the live scope, and we see it freaking dancing down. They're little metal clips with a blue little piece on them. So it's dancing down. Out of nowhere, like a speeding bullet, a northern comes in and whoosh, he eats it. I'm like, what are we? What? These northerns are. I mean, good Lord, why are we using live bait?
Right.
We could have just
It
clicked
was
on a hunk of
crazy
metal.
to see that.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
That
to
was
see
pretty cool. Then we were trying to catch one to see if it had a.
Yeah, see if we could get it back.
Yeah, yep. But that was pretty cool. That was pretty neat.
But we had a great time, and this goes along with anything outdoors. All right, so the second night we were there, Schmitty, we went and made ourselves an old fashioned. We had a wonderful meal.
Yeah.
And we went outside and sat outside.
Mm-hmm.
It was 9 o'clock at night.
And it was a warm day too. It was somewhat.
It was
warm.
probably 5 degrees at that time or whatever it was. It was before that cold front.
Yeah, it was before it got super cold.
It's pitch black outside, and we're sitting out there having a drink, and we had a couple backwoods cigars. Vanilla.
Yep.
And we were just sitting there saying, and like I said, this goes along with anything outdoors. I said to Derrick, I says, can you imagine that there's people out there that have never experienced this?
Yeah. Yep.
And that could go along with bow fishing, deer hunting,
right?
bow hunting, archery, whatever it is outdoors, even general fishing up north.
Yep.
That there are people out there, which is very sad.
Oh, there's
that never get to experience the outdoors like we do. Go out, catch your own fish, bring them back, flay them, deep fry them up, eat them.
Yep. And the same within 6 hours.
Yes.
Not even of them being caught.
Go out, shoot your own deer.
Yep.
Bring it back, skin it up, cut it up, debone it, can it, or however you want to do it.
Right. Yep.
Slice it, make sausage, and never eat that.
Yep.
And that's sad.
It is.
That's very sad to me that people don't get to experience that type of way of life that we live.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I hear you. We just kind of we're sitting out there and we're just, I don't know. At that point, I'm like, we're pretty lucky to be able to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just taking it all in.
Right.
You know?
And to think we are way up there in northern Minnesota ice fishing. There wasn't a lot of snow up there on the ice. There was a couple inches on the ice. It was very easy to travel around. But it's cold. It gets dark out early.
Yep.
The water is cold.
Yeah.
And to think that there is a thriving ecosystem going on underneath that ice.
It is a cool thing to try to think about. Yeah.
They're not cold.
Nope.
They're not starving.
Nope.
They're not hungry.
Nope.
They're not saying, oh, I got to go get my heater and warm up.
Yeah.
And it's thriving.
Yeah.
Under those conditions. It's pretty incredible.
It is. It's really cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, Matt.
We were talking about bow fishing.
Well, there's one. Yeah, we're pretty deep in here. There's one quick little side note that I'd like to say. I think it's appropriate for what we're doing right now. We're up here talking into a microphone for an audience.
Yep.
And as you know about me, I very much idolize people like sports commentators, broadcasters, stand-up comedians, people who can take their thoughts and portray it for an open audience that people like to listen to. And last week up here in Wisconsin, we lost a true legend. Bob Uecker passed away at 90 years old. Some of you might not even have a clue who that is. He's an icon in the Wisconsin sports world. He played in the MLB. He was the Brewers broadcast radio voice for 50 years, and he was just fantastic.
Yep.
I was sad when I learned about that.
Yeah.
That was one of the guys that I would look up to and be like, how does he do this? Day after day, he provides an entertaining broadcast that just everyone loves.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that up. We're up here talking, doing what he kind of did. We're not live, obviously, but it's just like, man, that's sad. That was one of the icons in the broadcasting world.
Yep. And if you didn't follow him through the Milwaukee Brewers, you might have watched a movie.
Yes.
That he was in broadcasting baseball. The movie Major League.
Yes. Yep. He's the announcer for them, and his
Cleveland. It was the Cleveland Indians.
Yep. I forget what his name was. Something Doyle, Harry Doyle. That might have been his name. I think that might be it.
Yep.
And of course, his famous line when I'm trying to think, who's the
just a bit outside.
Yes, who's the actor for in 2.5 Men? Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. Yep.
He's in there as a young pitcher, and he can throw gas.
Wild Thing.
Wild Thing. But he's got no accuracy whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a game or practice, and he throws a ball that like goes on the backside of where it's supposed to. It knocks over a sign in the stands. And Uecker's up there. He goes, just a bit outside.
Yeah. I don't know how these players can be laying off these balls, these pitches that are coming in.
Whenever you miss a fish this spring, that's what I'm going to do. I'm saying, well, just a bit under him. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
he was an icon for sure.
yes, absolutely. All right, let's get on to the bow fishing portion here, Matt.
All right, so a lot of spring meetings coming up. The BAA will be taking on Nashville for their annual spring meeting March 1st, 2025. If you're thinking about attending and checking it out, check out their Facebook pages. They'll be coming out with more information on hotel booking information.
Okay, good.
There's also a lot of state club meetings that are going to be going on here soon. You got coming up, we got the Nebraska Bowfishers, March 8th. Wisconsin Bowfishing Association just had theirs last week.
Yep.
Bowfishing Association of Michigan, February 1st. And there's a ton of them out there that will be coming up. So check out your local Bowfishing Association spring meetings. And I just want to say a big, big hats off to everyone that volunteers their time to be on these boards.
Absolutely.
The presidents of those clubs.
Yes.
Vice presidents, secretaries, state reps. Thank you guys so much, because that helps every bowfisher that enjoys the sport of bowfishing.
Yep. They're the voice for all of us.
Yep. So thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your schedule to volunteer and do this stuff for us bowfishers.
Yep.
We really appreciate that. So if you get a chance, step up one of these years. Step up on board, be a state rep, help your club out, help the BA out, become members of those clubs as well. Very important to do that stuff.
Yep, for sure. Well, I tell you what, last week, Matt,
Yeah.
I put a post out on the Megamouth Facebook, and it just said, you know what, guys? We're always looking for ideas for podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want to hear us talk about in 2025? We've got a couple of those comments right here, and I think that this is going to be a foresight into the future, because we're definitely going to talk about some of these.
And there was more. We just couldn't put them all on there for the show here.
Right. Yep, a couple of these here. Tammy Baker, this is a great suggestion, one that I've thought about a lot since we're froze up here for 5 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'd like if you guys could talk about how to practice in the off season, or how to improve form for better accuracy, opposed to just shoot and pray. That's a great thing. I've thought about that so much. Like, I should go down and sink something a foot or two under the water and just practice.
Yep.
Just get everything tuned in, feel completely comfortable, especially when you haven't shot a bow for a while.
Right.
One
thing that I did years ago, I haven't done it anymore in a long time, but I took a small little the wiffle
ball?
golf balls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And go in the backyard and have my bow ready in my left hand, okay, and have my hands on my string, and I would kick that little wiffle ball.
Oh.
Then I would snap shoot at it.
Moving target. Mm-hmm.
To get you used to shooting quick at different angles.
Yep.
And having good form, because if you don't have good form, you're going to get really bad cam rollover and you possibly derail the bows.
Sure. Yep.
Or your arrow's going to slap into the water sideways and stuff like that there.
Right.
But it was just a really quick way of getting quick on short little shots.
Sure.
Because that wiffle ball didn't have a lot of power,
Yep.
Yep. So it was great for that. And another thing that we just did it here the other day, Derrick, you and I went out in the back and we were shooting into a target. Of course, it was cold and snowy out, so we couldn't go outside and shoot.
Yep.
But we put 3 little black dots on the target back there.
Probably the size of a ping pong or a golf ball.
Yep. And just drawing and shooting at that dot to get that hand-eye coordination.
Yep, absolutely.
We cut the barbs out of a point.
Yep.
So you could pull it back out of the target very easy.
Right.
But just to get that hand-eye coordination, like I said, we're not shooting at depth angles here. We're just trying to get that quickly finding a spot and releasing.
Right.
And trying to hit that dot.
And with that, too, we were fine-tuning that bow that we had.
Yes.
It's also much easier to, when you stick an arrow into a foam target, you can walk up and say, oh, my knock is right. My knock's off right, and I'm shooting at a downward angle. Time to make some adjustments.
Yep.
And then you can just keep going back and really dialing that in, where it's a little bit harder to do that when you're shooting into the water.
Right.
Or if you're shooting on a night of bowfishing and the shooting is good, you're not going to want to take the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are good ways just to kind of do that. I remember shooting with a couple buddies of mine, Reese Bakken, Caleb Meyer, back in the day, probably 5-6 years ago. And you might not want to do it, I'm about to say, during a tournament if you're wanting to kind of stay a little bit stealthy. But we were just out fun shooting one night.
Yep.
And I would see Caleb shoot at little minnows.
Yes.
He's shooting at little minnows. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why are you shooting at them? He goes, oh, it's practice, good practice. And, some of these little minnows, he's cutting them in half. I'm like, oh, my gosh, what a good way to, be doing that.
Yep.
And I always thought to myself, I'm like, man, that's pretty good.
Aim small, miss small.
Exactly. And those minnows, they're darting around everywhere. It's not like they're just sitting in one spot. And I always thought of that, too. I'm like, that'd be a good way to zero it in.
Yep.
So another one of those comments, Matt, Justin Cook says, always being mindful of the pictures you take and taking presentable pictures when posting them to social media, because there's always someone watching that might try to raise a fuss, and not piling fish on boat ramps to take pictures and leaving a bloody mess, properly disposing of fish. And that is huge.
We can always be our own worst enemies.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
How often have we said in our previous podcast, Schmitty,
the most
pick up your damn
thing,
fish.
Is to know what you're going to do with your fish.
Yeah. That's just terrible to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives everybody a bad name. And pictures, we've been, one thing that I love to do is hold up one of your bigger fish and take a picture of it.
Like that classic hero shot.
Right. A pile of fish in a barrel I don't look at that and say, whoa, look at that.
Right. Yep.
It's a bloody mess.
Yep. And like, for example, when we're out doing that, we'll even take the fish and we'll scrub them down. We'll clean them up so that they look amazing.
Yep.
Yep. And one, it makes for a better picture. And two, if somebody's out there looking to raise a fuss, like Justin said, there's a whole lot less to raise a fuss about when somebody's holding up a clean one fish that they, a nice solid fish that they shot.
Because trust me, there's groups out there that are watching us.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
There's groups that are watching us.
I'm going to say 2 words. I'm going to say 1 word, actually. And I'm going to be curious what comes to your mind. Okay? Ready for the word?
Give her.
Snake. Any idea what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Because that was
on a filming trip in Kentucky.
With Red Shutter Media.
Yes.
Joellen was down there.
Yes.
Randy Conway was with us as well. We were shooting in a little cove.
Yes.
Taking a bunch of still shots. And a frickin' snake came from shore, and it was coming right for Joellen and Randy and one of the guys from Red Shutter, Blaine. He was sitting there. And we took a video of it, and as it's getting close, Blaine slapped at it with his tripod because this snake was defending territory. Yeah. It was not just trying to leave.
Water. We're shin deep in the water.
Yes. And so we posted that video. It's kind of a neat video.
Because somebody recorded it on their phone.
Yes. And we got the snake protectors were after us big time.
Yep.
And we didn't kill the snake.
We didn't kill it. We just were
shooting it away
out of the area.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So there's people, who would ever think?
I know. Yep. It's like they preferred
that
we just let it swim up to us and do whatever. I don't know if it was going to bite us or just bluff us. I have no idea, but they'd have preferred whatever outcome other than what we did.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Another example, Derrick, I was just reading here in one of the messages on Facebook, an article is Louisiana down there. They were looking at changing their redfish limits and everything like that down there because there's size limits on them and there's guides down there, bowfishing guides.
Yep.
And they were looking at doing some certain restrictions down there on these guys.
Sure.
And one of the guys that is against kind of bowfishing down there was saying that it's just a big party at night for these guys on the water. It's just a big party. So they look at us and think that we're out there, getting drunk and having a big old party and shooting everything that's swimming around.
Yeah,
and that was his idea of what we do.
Yeah, that's the type of guy that I'd love to invite along on the boat for a night of bowfishing and just show him that that's not what it is, man. We're just out here enjoying the great outdoors like anyone else would.
But I'm sitting there thinking about that. And he goes, yeah, they just out there loud noise and having, going crazy and doing all kinds of stuff out there. Well, we're going to have a little fun, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's okay to have a little fun. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to joke around a little bit. It's okay to have a good time.
Right.
So what are you saying? That when one of your buddies is out there angling and they catch a big fish, you're not hooting and hollering and having a good time?
You're supposed to whisper.
I guess.
Man, that's a heck of a 34-inch walleye you just caught.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You have to be very quiet because Billy owns that house up there and he doesn't like us.
Yeah. I mean, so there are people out there that are watching us.
Yep. Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. Last one here, Matt. Good old Corey Brosman.
Mm-hmm.
He says, tips and tricks, how to scout for big tournaments, how to get kids involved, and how the sport has evolved over the years and where it's going to be going in the future. That could be a podcast all in and of itself of those couple topics right there, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We touched up, we talked about scouting for tournaments is putting your time in,
grinding. Yeah.
Reading maps, looking at maps, looking for hidden spots that not everybody else is probably going to go to, sunken islands and stuff like that.
If you find a spot that holds fish, try to replicate that spot on other areas of that body of water or other bodies of water. Yeah.
Don't overshoot an area. If you have your local hot spots, Save those.
Right. Right.
Don't be going out there and having good old shoots on it on Wednesday night.
Yep.
And taking your big fish out of there.
Right.
You know, you got to save that stuff.
Yep.
And then good teammates goes a long, long ways.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Good trusting teammates.
Yep.
That you trust with all your secret little honey holes.
Teamwork.
Yep. Teamwork.
Getting more kids involved in the sport. If you don't have any kids, go to a youth event.
Right.
Take kids out.
Yep.
I was reading some of the notes here from the WBA's meeting because we were on an ice fishing trip. I wasn't able to attend it. They're looking at hooking up with the club always does a youth night with Ray Howell, Kicking Bear.
Yep. We had Ray on the podcast.
Yep. And then Luke Gerke also holds a youth tournament down there in Winona on the Mississippi River. And that's where the youth hunt with Kicking Bear is at. So we're looking at trying to join those two groups together to have it be a little bit more big and have those kids out there. So we're always looking for volunteers. Getting the kids on the water in the sport of bow fishing is the future of our bow fishing. That's why we need to teach them about not leaving your fish lay in piles at the boat launches.
Setting good examples.
Boat safety. You know, at nighttime, driving at nighttime. The respect of other bow fishers out there as well. So that's where it all begins.
Right.
That's where it all begins.
Yeah.
And what else how is this sport moving from here on out? I would say
that would be an interesting one to dive into on a podcast sometime, to just see what, like, we could each write up like what we think the sport will be like in 10 years and give our predictions. We'll save this
one for a future podcast.
Yeah, that could be kind of neat. That could be kind of neat.
Yep, we'll save this for a future podcast.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, Schmitty, if you are a bow fisher in Utah, Utah Lake to hold year-long fishing competition to get rid of carp.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Wow. Utah lake managers want as many carp as possible removed from the lake. To help their goal, they're hosting a year-long fishing competition.
That's cool. It's called the Great Carp Hunt.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That's cool. The Utah Lake Authority is offering $5,000 to the team that removes the most carp from Utah Lake in 2025.
Wow. Teams of up to 5 people will compete in monthly 2-day events from January to November.
Cool. Teams will go out during the events, catch as many carp as they can, shoot as many carp as they can, bring them back to the event launch, and count and dispose of the fish, according to the Utah Lake Authority.
Now, the Utah Lake Authority will also offer monthly prizes of $1,000 and prizes for things like the longest, smallest, and heaviest carp shot.
That's awesome. Yep. Like, really, hats off to this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
The first event is scheduled for January 25th and 26th. So that's, that's this upcoming weekend is what that's going to be.
It'd be kind of cold, I would think.
I would think so. Teams interested in joining the Great Carp Hunt can sign up online.
Yep. Why target carp on Utah Lake? The Great Carp Hunt is a part of an ongoing effort from the state to remove the fish from Utah Lake.
That's cool. They also said, we see this as a fun way for people to help remove a non-native species that has made negative impacts on the lake and the native fish. And that was from Luke Peterson in a press release with the ULA.
Peterson also said around 75% of carp have been removed from the lake since 2009, but there is still a lot of work to do.
That's impressive. 75% since 2009?
Yeah.
That's a lot of fish.
And he still says there's still a lot of work to do.
Right. Wonder how good the shooting was in 2008.
Ooh, must not have been that great.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or it could have been really good.
I was going to say, I think it would be really good before they started taking them out of there. But that is awesome. Get those carp out of there. That's the goal. That's very cool.
So if you live in Utah, check that out, man. That's you can win some nice money right there for shooting and some of those events that they have there.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, guys, we're going to give Clayton Meyer a call here, see what he's all been up to and his little story that he's got in the bowfishing world right after this commercial break. Efficiency Bowfishing Lights by Outdoor Innovations USA. A color tone adjustable and dimmable light with a unique patented reflector design that puts more light where you need it. Efficiency Bowfishing Lights offer 3 different models: the 65-watt single-color economy light, the 65-watt efficiency V2 tricolor dimmable light for maximum efficiency and versatility, and the 130-watt efficiency Maximus, designed to be an all-out beast of a bowfishing light. Efficiency, designed and built by bowfishermen for bowfishermen. Check them out at OutdoorInnovationsUSA.com. Are you looking to elevate your bowfishing brand with stunning design solutions? Look no further than N Designs. Their team of talented designers is dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's t-shirts, hats, leather products, eye-catching logos, to captivating boat wraps, they have you covered. Plus, with their commitment to excellence and attention to detail, you can trust that your project is in good hands. Don't settle for ordinary. Choose End Designs for extraordinary results. Visit their website today and let's bring your ideas to life. End Designs, where creativity meets excellence. All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 94, Bowfishing Buzz podcast. We have a very special guest on the phone, Clayton Meyer from the Obsession Outdoors down there in Kentucky. We got a couple questions for you. Clayton, welcome.
Yeah, guys, thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Well, Clayton, much of these states right now are or have been under a deep freeze, crazy winter conditions for the South. Yeah. How are conditions down in Kentucky for you right now, and how have they been?
We are very, very cold. Everything's locked up down there, even our bigger bodies of water. The only thing open, of course, is our rivers, and we're even seeing some ice on the Ohio River. So,
oh my goodness,
this is the longest. This is probably the longest streak of harsh cold that I've seen in a long time here. Wow. So I think we're on the tail end of it. I looked at the extended forecast. Looks like it's going to warm up some for us, so it'll be good. But it's not helping us waterfowl hunters this time of year. That's for sure.
You'll have to get some ice fishing gear and go ice fishing.
There we go.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the last thing I need is another fishing hobby.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you. Well, I tell you what, Clayton, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where'd you grow up, go to school? What was your upbringing like?
Yeah, so I have been fortunate enough to be brought up in the outdoors pretty much my entire life. My dad was a big deer hunter and waterfowl hunter and fisherman. And so, luckily for me, I've been around the outdoor industry for a long time. I was born up in Indianapolis and lived there for a very short stint. And we moved back down to Kentucky where my parents were born and raised, and we've stayed down here since then. And I went to an all-boy private high school and pretty strict structure high school, and then from there I went to Murray State. Oh, which you guys are probably pretty familiar with. So I was down in the promised land of bow fishing for the 4 years that I was in school, and so just always kind of put myself in a position to do what I love, and that's be outside and hunting and fishing. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, man, we can hit on that for sure here shortly. But Murray was a fantastic school, and if you're an outdoorsman, I wouldn't look any further than that school. It was awesome.
Right. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And one thing that's cool is your dad was a huge role model, of course, in your life, and that's one thing that I see about a ton of outdoors women is. Sure. Part of their family was a huge role model for them to get introduced into the sport in the outdoors, fishing, hunting, bow fishing. So hats off to all of our parents for really getting us involved in the outdoors.
Yeah, that upbringing is everything. Being exposed to it at an early age.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It is, and I'll hit on something else in regards to that. One thing that I think I can speak for everybody in this industry is if you're not brought up in the outdoors, anybody that is involved with it can't wait to introduce somebody to the sport.
Yep.
I think it's just such a cool, close knit community of folks, men and women. For in the guide business, I've got a few women's groups, Sisterhood of the Outdoors, Her Wilderness, and a couple others that come with me. And one thing that I think is so neat about that group is a lot of these women hadn't had the opportunity, maybe their husbands or their dads or their brothers weren't in the outdoor industry, but this is something they want to do, and this really gives these girls an opportunity to kind of go try it out and meet meet other girls that have the same interests, and so the opportunities are out there.
Absolutely.
It's anybody can get involved with it, and if you just look around, there's somebody just chomping at the bit to probably show them. So
that's right. Very good point there. And Clayton, I just want to ask you this because I've gone to a couple all-female bow fishing outings, and I've taken all women out bow fishing.
Sure.
What I have learned from the women is when you're teaching them about bow fishing and showing techniques and shooting and stuff, they pay attention and they seem to be a lot better shots right offhand versus men. I don't know if you noticed that, but I've noticed that on several of these outdoor lady bowfishing trips.
I'll tell you, I love when the girls come because they do pay attention on second off better than the guys do. You know, I lose a lot less arrows every night when I have girls out there with. Than I do a bunch of guys. So yeah, no, I can vouch for that. They just gotta. I don't know what it is. I don't know. They listen better. I guess.
And they really picked up the aiming, you know, the aim low part of it, because a lot of them have never done this before in their life. And man, they catch on that really quick. Yeah, you know.
Yep.
They do. You know, they always say people that have no experience are easier to teach, you know, than someone that you're trying to improve their skills. Per se. Yeah, no, that's a very good point, and I can definitely agree with that.
Yep.
So,
you know, when you said Murray, every time I'm down there in the Kentucky Lake area, I always try to make one trip to Murray and go to the Sirloin Stockade.
Oh, yes. We've been there a good amount of times.
Really?
Yes. Oh, that buffet they have there is just, oh, man, it's really good stuff.
There's a little hidden gems, you know. And, there's a lot of good restaurants around there.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Yes.
We used to always like to go to Patty's right up there on the north end of the lakes. Places. Their pork chops.
The pork chops, right.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's
great restaurant, great desserts. You got to roll out of there when you get done eating.
That's a good place there if you're rolling out. Yep.
So Clayton, who played the vital role in introducing you to bowfishing? Was it your dad also, or friends?
No, you know, a good friend, childhood friend of mine that we knew each other there in grade school, and we went to the same high school together. We shared a farm that had a big creek that ran through it, and then also a couple farm ponds. And he had actually an AMS bottle reel bowfishing set up, and I didn't have anything, and we kind of tinkered around with it a little bit and just shot some grass carp off the pond, and then we would have gar and a couple other little, you know, buffalo in this creek that would flow right off the edge of the farm, and you know, we just kind of played around with that. And then when I went to Murray, I had some roommates when I was a freshman that he was from Marshall County down there, so he, you know, was really pretty active in the bow fishing game at the time, and enough to take me out on my first under the lights on a boat, if you will, on the lake. And pretty much from that point forward, it was just not, you know, I couldn't get enough of it. You know, the rest was history after that. I had been around boats my whole life, but you know, being on a bow fishing boat and with the lights and everything just was a whole new world for me. And I love the bow hunt, so that was the best of both worlds for you know, for someone like us. So it was So I mean, Murray, as you guys know, is just, you know, is the capital of the bow fishing game, and so the opportunities are endless down there. And you know, I bought a boat and outfitted it to do what I wanted to do, and you know, and just kept on keeping on with it and never looked back. So.
Wow, that's cool. So it sounds like at this point, Clayton, from what you're telling us, you fell in love with the sport. What made you decide to pursue a career in the guiding aspect of it? You know, specifically in the bow fishing guiding.
So this is kind of a cool little backstory. So as I mentioned, my dad had always been a big fisherman. I'd say probably liked to offshore fish more than anything. And as a kid, he would take me down to Dauphin Island, Alabama. We'd go on an offshore overnight trip. It was 3 nights. And, you know, I had gotten to the point where I got really close with the captain's youngest son. He was a deckhand at the time. And so we got to become buddies. He was a little older than me, but he kind of took me under his wing. And when I was 14 years old, we get back to the marina, and my dad, I'm saying bye to everybody. We got done cleaning fish, packing the truck, and all of a sudden my suitcase is laying up back out on the gravel parking lot. And Dad says, "You're going to stay down here for a little while and help Captain Mike deckhand."
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Okay. Now remind you, I'm 14 years old. My mom has no idea that my dad decided to
gosh.
do this. And so I couldn't drive, obviously, of course. So I was staying at Captain Mike's house with him and his wife, and I was taking a bicycle. It was on an island, Dolphin Island, and I was taking a bike to the marina every morning about 4 a.m. to get everything ready to go. And that kind of really set the fire, because I learned quickly that I love to see people enjoy what I love so much.
Sure.
And take people out and help them be successful. And that really came into a play because I kept going back down there every summer. When I was playing football in high school, I'd have a dead period, and I'd go back down there during the dead period and deckhand. And so, it really it helped me get my sea time for my captain's license. It just helped me get a lot of experience on how to take care of clients and do what we got to do as a fishing guide. And so my dad always loves to tell that story, because they were on their way home and my mom said, "Hey, let me talk to Clayton." And he goes, "Well, about that, Clayton's not in the truck; he's still down there." So it's I love that story just because I still to this day talk about it, and it really made me realize how much I love to take people out in the water and introduce them to the sport of fishing and bow fishing. And so that's kind of what's got me into the guiding thing. And when I was at Murray, I wasn't guiding there. It was just fun fishing, doing some tournaments and buddy fishing. And when I moved back home, I joined the family business, and I didn't really know a whole lot of folks in a town called Lexington, horse country, and so I just started fishing and inviting people, and I got to thinking, I might as well start a guide service, because I'm just taking a bunch of folks that I don't necessarily know and see how that goes, and it just took off. So
that's an awesome story.
It is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And I bet you learned a lot, and the guy that you were on the boat with down there is probably a huge mentor to you. You're probably watching him and learning from him so much. And what a great mentor to have you carry that over into what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, gaffing fish, we don't, back then, when I was 14, I wasn't gaffing, I wasn't bow fishing at the time. And really, we're not gaffing bass and crappie around here, So, learning how to gaff fish is now, I do every single night, multiple times a night,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that I learned that I otherwise maybe would have had to learn bow fishing and when I did start. And, but yeah, I mean, the big thing is just how to take care of clients, making sure that they're having a great time and they're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing things correctly and safely, and it just, and I'm still to this day, in fact, that was who I was telling you about earlier, that was down in Alabama. We talked to them, and my wife and I go and see them, and we took the boat down to Alabama this past fall and shot some gator gar and attempted to go shark fishing, but we were a little day late and $1 short in October for that. So we tried to go do some bow fishing for sharks. It just didn't work out. But
that's too bad.
But,
that's really cool how that all
unfolded like that.
Yeah,
you were destined to be a bowfishing guide.
I think so.
Yes,
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
So Clayton
seems to be.
Yeah. So Clayton, how many nights a year do you guide, and how many overall people do you think you guide in a calendar year?
I ran close to 100 trips this past year.
Oh, wow.
So I would, if I had to guess, a little over between 400 or 500 clients.
Nice.
My license allows up to 6 people, and I get a full boat pretty often in the summer for carp trips, but in the spring when I'm running the paddlefish trips, I keep it four people maximum.
Gotcha.
That's just because of the nature of shooting these big paddlefish. It's just having too many people is just a little too much going on out there. So I keep it at 4. 1, to protect the resource of the fish, and with the limit of being 2, I don't have any reason to take more than 8 fish in a night anyway. So I keep it 4, and it's safer and not too many people to walk around on the boat. So,
and
go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, so with bow fishing, I'm guessing, well, you have a little bit longer season down there in Kentucky than we do here, But that's a pretty short window. When do things kind of get rolling there for you, Clayton? Like in May, April, May?
Well, we're the past couple of years I've been running what I call carp camp, and we run a week full carp spawn trips.
Oh,
and
gosh,
I do that
cool.
at the very beginning of April. We're shooting trophy mirror carp, giant common carp, big gar, catfish, but the big thing folks come for is the mirrors. And, we're shooting some really nice mirror carp. And so I do that for a week, and that's at the very beginning of April. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I have a day off and I transition straight into the paddlefish spawn and don't look back from that for a month and a half. So the end of May is when that all kind of winds down, when the water temperatures get to to the 70-degree mark. They push deep again and won't even know they're there. So
that's crazy.
It's, my season starts in April, beginning of April, and I ideally like to. This year I ran all the way through the end of October. We're unseasonably warm still, so it allowed us to have a little extended season. But
sure.
I try to book to the end of September and then just kind of let October be what it is and go from there. So
that's interesting.
That's cool. That's cool. So you're doing 100 trips during this season, Clayton. You got 400 to 500 clients. What can somebody expect in a night of guiding with the Obsession Outdoors?
Well, I'm offering several different types of trips. With the carp camp trips are a blast, but that's kind of a short-lived spawn thing. And then I got to quickly get into the paddlefish, which is really what a lot of folks are coming to see me for. And so, as far as where we, how we meet and when we meet, that all changes throughout the season. But as far as fishing with me goes, you can expect to be on a state-of-the-art 26-foot, 36-inch side, deck-over bowfishing boat. It's first class, very comfortable, very safe. And then as far as equipment goes, everything equipment-wise is provided. We shoot Oneida Eagle bows with mega mouth reels, and so you're shooting top-notch equipment. Use the best things the industry's out offers, and always have a deckhand on board.
Okay.
Number one reason is just safety reasons, and the second reason is because I want when folks get a fish on, I don't want to stop the whole show for the rest of the cruise.
Sure.
The deckhand takes care of the fish that the client has on. You don't necessarily ever have to take off your fish. It's all taken care of for you, and put in the fish box and get back to hunting. So
nice.
I try to keep everything as top notch as it gets, and we fish for 5 hours, do 5-hour charters.
Okay.
Usually always stretch it. You know how it goes. I have a hard time stopping sometimes. So I've had several times the clients are like, all right, we've had enough for the night, and so I'm the one keeping us out there longer, but it's just, I guess if that fire ever burns out, then I probably need to think of something else.
Right.
To do now. I can't get enough of it. So.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got a pretty nice boat. You're taking a lot of people out. It's a busy stretch of time for you down there.
Great equipment.
I'm sure you have to have some crazy stories that have happened on the boat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always have a hard time coming up with the one that I want to talk about. When people ask, and I get asked that all the time. And I got to thinking, Chuck, or a funny / crazy story, and I thought I would tell one that happened this past summer.
Sure.
That's kind of funny, and you guys might appreciate just because it happens to everybody. So like I said, I always have a deckhand on board, and this boy lives close to my hometown, and awesome deckhand, is a blast to be around, funny as could be. And we're on the river, and I had 6 clients on board, and I was having some issues with my kicker motor, which I run a gator tail, and it's hydraulic over electric, and the hydraulic pump was going out on me, and so it wasn't steering like it normally has. And I've been really fortunate. I was overdue for an issue on the boat, and I've been real lucky. And finally, I just said, guys, we're gonna have to run this trolling motor. I can't, this pump. I think this pump's seen its better days. And So trolling motor on a 26-foot boat when you're trying to hunt for paddlefish and gar and stuff, trying to cover a lot of water quick was not ideal. But my deckhand decided he would take it upon himself to go into the hull of the boat and figure out what was wrong with the mud motor pump. And I hadn't really seen him, and we're looking for fish. We're moving slow, and I look back and I'm like, God, what is he doing down there? His name's Jacob. And I finally go back there, and I said, what are you doing? He's down there, and he looks up at me, and his eyes are as big as Coke cans. And he goes, we got a problem. I said, what? He goes, I stepped on the hose for the washdown pump, and we're taking on water.
Oh,
and he had his finger in the hole. Because there's nothing you can do. And so if he would have come back out of the hole and pulled his finger out, we're taking on water quick. I don't know if that bilge pump would have pumped it out quick enough. And he got 6 guys. Nobody knew what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So he's been sitting back there for, I thought maybe 20. It could have been longer.
Oh my
But he's just sitting there debating on what he's going to do, whether he wants to tell me what he did or pull his finger out. And he got smart. He took one of his gloves off of his hand and he stuffed it in the hole. And it slowed that. It was one of these waterproof gloves. So it didn't absorb too much water and leak and seep through. And it actually, believe it or not, got us through the night. We never even mentioned it to the clients. I just kept a close eye on things, and I just, I didn't want to worry nobody. Yeah. And I felt like we had a pretty good hand on things. And I said, Jacob, you're sitting right back here this whole night watching that hole.
Yeah.
No worries, I'm not moving.
And hats off to your deckhand for not saying something to get everybody kind of, like you said, you get a little worried. They're thinking, oh my gosh, we're taking on water and stuff. And for him to sit back there and have his finger in that hole that whole time, in between all that, that's hats off to your deckhand on that.
I would have loved to have seen when he was down there and he noticed what's going on. I would kill to just see the look on his face.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh crap.
Too.
And then 30 minutes goes by of him just sitting there with his finger in the hole going, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
in a predicament.
Stuff. Yes, he was.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
And so I'd say he earned his that night for sure.
Yes, he did.
I had to give it to him. So yeah, I rotate around 4 to 5 deckhands, and they're all been phenomenal. I'm really lucky to have the guys that help me, and I just think it's so important to have good help. It just makes my, I have certain nights where I run it by myself, and it always makes me wish I had somebody. I always quickly appreciate who I got, just because I don't. It keeps the nights going fast paced, and it always makes putting the boat in, taking it out safer and easier. It's a big deal. So, and I just think that adds to the experience for the customer too. So.
Exactly. Nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's an awesome story, Clayton. That's pretty good. Tell you what, you have recently built a pretty cool lodge for your clients to stay in down there. Tell us a little bit about that. What made you decide to do that?
So, I put on a lot of windshield time when I'm fishing. Unfortunately, I live pretty centrally located of the Ohio River. I can be to the river in less than an hour, need be, in certain areas. But where I ideally like to fish my summer trips mid-June to the end of September is about a 2-hour haul. So I'm pulling a big boat like that every time back and forth. It's just got to be not, just wasn't making sense. So I told one of my main deckhands, his name's Kyle, and I said, hey man, if anything, he lives down in Cloverport, Kentucky, which is just west down the river of Brandenburg. And I think you guys are familiar with Brandenburg because I believe back in the good old days there was a tournament put out there.
Yeah, there was quite a while back. Yes, there was, 2011.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys might know Kyle Hebron. He's kind of a bank shooting legend. He very good bow fisherman. Has been doing it forever, and he's been a huge help in the success of my business. And he lives on the same back road that the lodge is on. And I said, hey man, if anything comes available down on this road, it's a tributary of the Ohio River. I said, I really want to know. Well, 2 weeks go by and he called me and he said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but Gary, the neighbor of his 2 doors down, wants to sell. And I said, what do you want? He told me, and I said, done deal. And we jumped right on it. Wow. I said, and so this lodge hasn't been built for more than 2.5 years. It's brand new.
Oh.
And the gentleman that was living there was ready to move closer to family, and it just was the opportunity that I needed. And so now the lodge is sitting on Clover Creek, and it's got a private dock, and the boat can sit right there behind the house. And so if we're fishing that pool of the river, it's just such a neat setup. And the lodge is super secluded. It's peaceful as it gets. It's got 7 beds. Four full beds, 2 twins, and a queen in a master bedroom, full-fledged kitchen, green egg, and then it just overlooks the river.
Oh, wow.
You can kayak, you can shoot fish right off the dock in the backyard.
Man.
I mean,
wow, perfect.
It's a bow fisherman's dream, man.
Yeah.
I've been so lucky to get this place, and we've really kind of done a few little modifications to it to try to get it more fitting for clients. And man, it's everybody that's stayed there so far. Unfortunately, I got into the tail end of last year's season, so I only had a handful of clients stay in there. But heck, I'm booking almost daily for it now, and it's going to be a heck of a year. I can't wait. So it's just, but the big thing for me is I can keep the boat there,
yes,
and not have to drag it back home. I work a full-time job, so
yes,
this is in the summertime having to haul a boat and work. It was kicking my butt. So this has made my life a lot easier, especially just if I can or need to, I can lay my head somewhere and get up and go to work the next day and do it again.
Sure. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, that sounds like the perfect setup down there, Clayton. Wow.
Well,
yeah, it's go ahead.
I was going to say, you got a sounds like an awesome boat. You got an awesome operation, top notch bow fishing, guiding in a great area down there. You got the lodging down there. Clayton, any of our listeners out there, how can they find out more about, Obsession Outdoors and yourself, and how can they get a hold of you?
Yep. So I am on social media, of course. I got a Facebook page. I've got an Instagram. We have a website, theobsessionoutdoors.com. And you can actually, there's a link at the bottom where you can book a trip, and then it will send me an email, and we can communicate via email. And then, but you're welcome to call me. My phone number is on the website. It's on my social media as well. I like to personally talk to folks and really kind of figure out what they want to do and how they want to do it. And it just makes it a little easier than communicating through text and email, and get to know people a little bit more that way as well. And, as far as that goes, if you book for the lodge, I can have, we've got it set up to where groceries can be delivered to the lodge. So you just send a list of what you want and have them there for you. And when you get there, and there's a green egg, a gas grill, and a full-fledged kitchen, and it's just trying to set it up as first class as it gets. It's great for bachelorette parties or bachelor or just a guy's night or family night, girls' night out, whatever. But as far as getting a hold of me, just social medias seems to be where a big portion of my leads come from. But word of mouth's been great. Been very fortunate to have a whole lot of repeat clients, and
that's
so
good.
It's yeah, man, it's been great. I love it. I can't get enough of it, and look forward to this cold weather's got me looking forward to it even more. So
yeah, yep, I hear you.
Ready.
Yep. And then we'll also have your information on our video podcast with your Facebook page and your numbers out there and stuff like that, so people can find that on our video podcast as well. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day and joining us, Clayton. It sounds like you got a great setup there.
Yeah, you're dialed in.
Anybody that's looking for a great time down there, look up Clayton Meyer, the Obsession Outdoors, and tell them you heard about him on the Bowfishing Buzz podcast, and he'll put you on a big old fish.
There we go. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to you guys setting up a time to come down and hang out with me down there.
That would be a blast.
Yes, we'll definitely have to
you
do
guys
that.
bring your boat down too if y'all want, and we can maybe do a little bit of everything, but for sure. And I do want to say one thing. You guys have been fantastic to work with, and if I got an issue with a reel and send it in, you all take care of me so quick, and it's been a great experience working with you all, and I can't thank you enough. You're a big part of what makes me successful, and I appreciate you guys are top notch. So
we appreciate that,
yes,
Clayton. Thank you you very much.
Yep,
we appreciate
yes,
that. And you stay warm down there, and look forward to more sunny days for you down there,
Yeah.
warmer days for sure. But thank you for joining us, Clayton. We wish you the best of luck this season.
Yes, sir. You guys too. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the week.
You bet. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Boy, talk about a guy who sounds like he is absolutely dialed in. Whew. What are the odds that lodge comes up 2 weeks later after he tells Kyle about it, and then just this dream property pops up right where he's shooting fish?
I would love to see this this operation. I'd love to see that little Airbnb down there on the river that.
Yes. And he does on his website. I was floating around on that website yesterday or earlier today, and he does have the link to it. So you guys can go and check it out and see how cool that is there. One thing I really liked about it is a lot of the decor on the inside. There's a bunch of shed antlers everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yes. That was pretty cool.
You picked that up right away, didn't you?
Yep. But yeah, I mean, Clayton, the Obsession Outdoors. Get a hold of him if you're looking to go down to Kentucky and shoot some fish. Have a great time. Have a great place to stay. Go out with somebody who's lots of experience, knows what he's doing. That's great of Clayton to join us today. That's really cool.
Yep, we appreciate that.
Oh, boy. Here we go again.
Get ready for Fish That You Wish.
This fish comes to us out of the state nicknamed the Natural State.
Oh.
Because of its landscape of mountains, lakes, hot springs, and forest. It's also the only state in the U.S. that has an active diamond mine.
What?
I'm talking Arkansas. Is it Arkansas?
No, it's Arkansas.
Or Arkansas.
Arkansas.
This fish was shot on April 1st, 2021 by John Hawthorne. With a girth of 37 inches and a length of 47.75 inches, this grass carp tipped the scales at a healthy 78.01 pounds.
Wow.
And that's a fish you wish you shot.
Down there in Arkansas, big old grassy.
Arkansas.
Yep. Wow, we're not in Arkansas anymore.
I always say Arkansas.
Yeah. Yep. That's cool. Arkansas, down there with the big old grass.
Big old grassy. Yepper.
Just for everyone knows, I don't ever get to know what these are. So whenever you hear that little, that's the 1996 Bulls intro theme song.
The best team the NBA ever had.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, that'll be fair. We'll talk about that sometime else. But whenever that comes on, I get excited because I don't know what's coming.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Well, Schmitty, that wraps up BBP episode 94.
Yep.
Brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well, our great sponsors. Efficiency Bowfishing Lights by Outdoor Innovations USA. End Designs Leatherwork and Embroidery. Love them so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sirree. Thank you, Clayton. The Obsession Outdoors for joining us.
Check them out.
Don't forget to check out your state's Bowfishing Association's annual spring meetings. Become a member. Join those organizations. Join the WBA. We love bowfishing.
We love it.
And if you ever see somebody doing something wrong, point them out.
Yep. Call them out. Yep.
We don't need you dumping fish where they should be dumped.
Exactly.
We all need to stick together in this. So from all of us here at AMS Bowfishing and Megamouth Bowfishing, we wish you the best of luck. And remember, aim low,
think big. Thanks for listening, guys.